Hello, chess friends, and welcome to your Out of Cash channel, and welcome to another stunner by the strongest chess engine in the world by Stockfish 17. Today we see the fish battling it out against another top engine Tucano in a crazy 3-knight variation of the Queen's Gambit decline, and in this game you see again very epic tactics, a beautiful queen sacrifice by Stockfish, although we have seen really complicated tactical shots by Stockfish now recently, but I think we missed a little bit some queen sacrifices, so I found now really this epic game. Put your seatbelts on and enjoy really an amazing gameplay by Stockfish 17. So without further complications, let's dive down into the game with the white pieces. The fish open with the move d4. Tucano's response was knight to f6, and after a couple more moves we have the Queen's Gambit decline here after move e6. 3 knights variation, and now a very interesting sideline h6. It's maybe a passive move by black, but it's not a mistake, I would say. This move prevents the standard ideas after c takes d5, e takes d5 to get pinned and go maybe into the normal ideas of the exchange variation of the Queen's Gambit decline. Has been played many times, and I think it's also a very interesting approach here by black. Stockfish, after this slightly passive move by black h6, plays now in sort of a Catalan way with the move g3. Fianchettos the bishop to d6 by Tucano, and now normal development by the fish. Castling, we have now the move b3, fixing now here the structure on the queen side, and now knight to c6. And this move is also, I would say, a decent one by black. Black is not searching here for simplification, maybe with the move c5. Black is searching for an idea to play d takes c4 and then break and enter with the move e5. So now the e5 score is covered by black, and black is trying to somehow let the position explode in the center of the board. Castling by the fish, now comes d takes c4, now comes b takes c4, and now comes this idea e5. Rook to b1 by the fish, and now you could maybe try e4 to somehow break and enter in the center of the board, but then knight to d2, you can pick up this one, and after knight takes e4, I don't know, knight takes e4, white will probably get an extra tempo against the dark square bishop. In this open battles, I think black should not give up the bishop pair, would maybe try in this line bishop to e7, then bishop to b2, c5, I don't know, e3, kicking away the knight, and then, I don't know, maybe playable for black, but I think the b file attack, queen to e2, rook to d1 is going to happen. Suddenly white is much better when it comes to piece activity, and in this open game white should have, of course, much better position. So here, that's why after rook to b1, Tucano simplifies the game by trading off the knights in the center of the board and plays now a solid c6. This move is, of course, not allowing white to jump on this active squares on b5, maybe also here on the square d5. We have a rook to d1 by the fish, attacking now the piece, and now after bishop to e7, again Tucano is hoping to simplify the game by trading off everything. Black would love to play maybe this position, rook takes d8, maybe rook takes d8, bishop to d8, we're okay. Maybe again white has some kind of an attacking chance on the b file, but the game is so simplified now that I think with perfect play this game shouldn't end with a draw. After bishop to e7, that's why Stockfish keeps it very complicated and plays now queen to e5. Tucano counterplays with knight to d7, and now Stockfish keeps the queen on the board, but not only on the board, keeps it very active, keeps it very close to black's king. Queen to e8, Tucano gets out of this attack on the d file, and Stockfish plays normal development. We have knight to f6, new attack, and now queen to a5. Again, Stockfish is searching for the complication here with the queen. What should you do? If you try here, for instance, knight to g4, this wasn't played in the game, but I was very curious, for instance, what would happen after potential attack against the dark square bishop. Then white would probably centralize the bishop and would simply kick away the knight. In this sequence, I think, again, there is a problem of the b7 square, where you could maybe try, I don't know, to somehow play rook to b8, but then queen to d6 would simply somehow attack the piece. Very unpleasant game, I would say, here for black, especially because of this very beautiful rook activity. Also, what we have to say, this rook is centralized, this knight will eventually come into the game, so suddenly again white has a much better piece activity. So that's why after queen to a5, bishop to d8 was played by Tucano, kicking with the queen, and again Stockfish plays the queen on the most active possible square on the board, the square b4. We have now queen to e6 here by Tucano, and now a4. Stockfish is not allowing in any of these lines b5, and still keeps this very, very active bishop against this diagonal here on light squares. We have now the move a5 here by Tucano, and now the real fun starts. Stockfish plays now an amazing queen takes f8, sacrifices the queen for the rook and the bishop, and Stockfish in this tactical sequence didn't gain any further pawns, so it's like giving up 8 points against your opponent's pardon me, you're giving up 9 points against your opponent's 8 points because the queen is supposed to worth 9 points. But Stockfish simply relies now on the endangered king position, because the king has to now step back here to e7. Stockfish plays now rook to d4, connects now the rook to the pawn on c4, and the issue is that you cannot play c5. That's a crazy part, I think, about the Stockfish calculation. Look how deep very Stockfish is calculating this amazing sequence. After move c5, it seems so maybe that you're winning the pawn on c4, but the issue is now after rook to c1. I want to also point out that white pieces are playing in perfect harmony. They're very compact, they're really glued together, and now you have to in one moment step back with the queen. For instance, if you try queen to b4, then there is the issue of knight to d5, knight takes d5, bishop takes c5 is winning the game on spot here for white. Even if you step back here after rook to c1 to e6, then bishop to c5, you have to now step back with your king somewhere, and now rook to e3 in some of these lines is immediately winning the game here for Stockfish. Even if you step back here to f8, then look at this, then rook to d8 is coming, then king to e7, and the cool part is that you stay simply with your rook on the 8th rank. Now the bishop is stuck on c8. Maybe you can somehow, I don't know, try to get it with b6, but still this bishop is very dangerous, so you would lose, I think, at least 5, 6, 7 moves in order to regroup somehow. Meanwhile, of course, white is doing something. Again, knight to d5 is a huge threat, so again, a complicated game here for black. Here after rook to d4, you see c5 is not working, so that's why queen to e5. Stockfish connects now the rooks, and finally Tucano develops the light square bishop. But okay, Stockfish continues the pressure. Look how white pieces are playing in beautiful harmony again. Queen to e6, bishop to d6. The king has to now go on a strange square on e8, and now Stockfish plays a calm bishop to a3, keeps this bishop on this very active diagonal, and it's not allowing black to escape anymore towards the king side. If this position would have been continued maybe with the king already on g8, this would be, I think, a completely different story. But now when the king is still endangered, the queen is not so active anymore. Really a beautiful position here for white. Bishop to c2 by Tucano, attacking now the rook, but of course Stockfish connects again the rooks on the d file. We have now bishop to g6. Stockfish continues with e4, continues to push in the position. Rook to c8. Tucano has now a very tough time to play with the rook somewhere, and now e5. This is the way to go. This is now the move that I think is crushing here black in the continuation of the game. There are not so many good squares for black pieces. Even if you try queen to e5, this is not working, because after rook to e2, the queen is lined up against the king. Look how bad it is, of course, to have the king in the center of the board. You can just prolong the game with knight to e4, bishop to e4. You're trying maybe to pick up this one, but now look at this. Even bishop takes c6 is working here. A double check. You cannot go, of course, here towards f8. You would be pretty much forced to play like this. But now look at this. Rook to e8. Look how crazy this amazing tactical sequence is. Now we deliver check. And you don't have to even lose further material here. You just continue to deliver checks. And now it's time to pick up the queen. And now when you still have your pieces on the board, obviously in this endgame, white is completely winning. Really crazy tactics after the potential e5 move. So that's why Tucano is forced now to play again a passive move, knight on h7. The knight is now on the edge of the board. Really a bad position here for black. Stockfish continues to pressure again. Queen to e5 obviously is not working, because after rook to e2, again the queen gets trapped. Rook to d6, we have now queen to g4. Stockfish continues to pressure against the queen and plays now a calm h4 with some ideas, maybe if it's possible, king to h2, bishop to h3, also knight to e4, knight to d6 is one line, bishop to e4, maybe bishop takes e4, then knight takes e4, knight to d6. What you want to do is, of course, to somehow hop with the knight on this beautiful weakness in black's camp on the weak score on d6. Knight to f8, the Tucano is desperately trying now to get the knight back into the game. Stockfish plays on this idea, king to h2, bishop to f5, and now bishop to e4. Obviously, as we mentioned, black should not take because of the weakness on d6. After bishop to e4, g6, so bishop to f3, h5, and now bishop to g2. The position is so bad for black that white can afford himself here to play even calm moves, regrouping moves, improving of the minor pieces moves. So black is really paralyzed here. You cannot move the knight somewhere. This line is taken. You cannot include the rook into the game. Even if you try, I don't know, c5, then rook to d5 is going to happen. Going for this pawn, you're trying, I don't know, b6, then knight to b5. Look at this. Again, this d6 square is weak. So game over here for black. So after bishop to g2, that's why Tucano tried b6, try to hold somehow all of the squares here on the 5th rank, but now rook to f4, simply going for the bishop here, rook to c7. If you try now, maybe to compete finally on the d file, because Stockfish has left now the defense of the d file, then rook to d8, king takes d8, and then the knight is hanging. So look, the position is so overloaded for black that black has not really many good moves here in the position. After rook to f4, rook to c7 here by Tucano. Stockfish continues now with an amazing bishop to d6, rook to c8, and now knight to e4 with the threat, of course, to play knight to f6. What should you do? In the game, knight to h7 was played by Tucano, trying to hold this f6 square. Even if you try bishop to e4, then rook takes e4 is going to be played, and then rook to f4, you're trying maybe to go like this, but then a stunning bishop to h3 will finally happen. And look how beautiful again the pieces of white are placed. You're trying, I don't know, to play rook to d8, then e6 is even working here. Look at this, knight to e6, bishop to e6. If you try, for instance, here f takes e6, then rook to f8 leads even into a checkmate sequence because there's this discovered attack, and now after rook to a8, this would be a beautiful checkmate with the rook activity. So here after e6, knight to e6, bishop to e6, even if you try, I don't know, rook takes d6, then rook takes d6, e takes d6, pardon me, f takes e6, leak now into rook, into this idea where the rooks will be lined up on the 6th rank, and all of the pawns will be taken after a couple more moves. This is again completely winning endgame here for the fish. After knight to e4, that's why knight to h7, trying to hold this position. Stockfish finally plays bishop to a3, wants to hop with the knight on d6. Finally, here Tucano gets rid of the piece. c5, Tucano is locking out now the dark square diagonal. Very important defensive move, but it's simply not working. Again, rook to d6, the queen has to step back. Stockfish regroups again, improves now simply the position of the minor piece. King to f8, bishop to h6. Tucano cannot breathe here with the king. King to g8. Finally, black's king has escaped where we wanted to have the king in the first place, but now it's simply too late. Now rook to e3, Stockfish is regrouping again, bishop to d5, and knight to e6 here by Tucano. We have bishop to g5, and after a couple more moves, it was game over. Even if you try, for instance, knight to g5, then rook takes g6 is working. This is also the issue. The beautiful now light square bishop activity. For instance, king to h8, knight to rook takes g5 is again simply winning the game. After bishop to g5, queen to e8 was played by Tucano. Stockfish continues now with rook to d3. Tucano tried here knight to d4, but after rook takes g6 in this particular position, Tucano simply resigned. So what should you do if you try here? I don't know, king to f8, then this rook is coming here. Again, very nasty stuff to handle. Again, the white pieces are simply too powerful here all over the board. So after rook takes g6, the evaluation here is +5 in white's favor. So I think it was a fair resign here by Tucano. Although we would love to see maybe the game play till the end, but I think, as I said, this is really something that you don't want to play now anymore from black's perspective. So amazing queen sack by the fish, then I would say really amazing active play. We can spot sometimes some amazing queen sacrifice, but then to continue to play the game is really a different story. Stockfish found always the best attacking idea. Stockfish found really the most active move. Really a beautiful example how to activate your pieces all over the board. So, okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed it a lot. Spectacular queen sack again by the most powerful chess engine in the world. If you want to see some other brutal games like this, check out our Come to Chess Games Play by Computer series. Here's the link of our playlist. And if you like this content, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. See you soon with some more videos. And what do we say in the end? Chess is the best, of course.